Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday, August 27th, 2024 Administrative Matters Meeting. It is 9 a.m. We'll call this meeting to order, and as is our tradition, we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join us as you are able. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. My name is John Kafalis, Commissioner from District 1, currently the Chair of the Board of County Commissioners. I'm joined by my colleagues, Kristen Stevens from District 2 and Jody Sheddock McNally from District 3. Across the way, we have Lindsay from the Clerk and Recorder's Office. As you know, this is a public meeting. We record it, we broadcast it, and we do our best to take accurate minutes of the meeting. Then, of course, we have our county manager, Lorenda Volker, and folks from our commissioner's office, public affairs and support staff. We have Tom Clayton and Sarah Martin. So, with that, the first order of business is public comment. And it looks like from the sign up sheet, we have two folks that have signed up. And the first one is Joyce. Joyce, would you come on forward? If you would be kind enough to introduce yourself for the record and your affiliation, and you'll have about 3 minutes to present to us.
Good morning. I'm Joyce Wood, and thank you all for serving. I am a member of the Braver Angels organization. It's actually the largest civic renewal organization in our country. And I'm fresh off of a conference in Kenosha, Wisconsin, the end of June. So I've got a lot of passion still from that gathering of citizens. And the whole mission of Braver Angels is to bring us together, to bridge our partisan divides, and to restore our democratic republic. And I'm very spontaneously coming today because my friend Paul just gave me a heads up that you're gathering this morning. So I prepared just from my heart. And I guess I'd like to invite our leadership to this citizenry work. There on September 28th, there will be a national panel sponsored and fabricated, that's the wrong word, offered by Braver Angels around this issue of immigration, which I know has been very divisive. And my experience as a member of this organization since 2020 is that every effort they make, parliamentary debates are not shouting matches. They are actual collaborative, fully passionate, but wonderful opportunities to express fully, freely, and without fear your stances, and then there is a Madam or Mr. Chair in the middle that helps citizens to do this interaction. There are workshops, there are forums, as well as the opportunity to meet a stranger and talk one-on-one with someone who disagrees with you through a guided conversation that helps you to navigate the discussion. So this September 28th will be an online Zoom, and I just at the end of July did a local, I facilitated a workshop on depolarizing ourselves, which I hope will be an ongoing effort. So just wanted to bring that to your awareness, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Joyce. Paul, good morning. Welcome. Come on up. I think you know the routine.
I do.
That's
Paul
good.
Gessler, Fort Collins. And Thank you, Joyce, for coming today. And I did bring Braver Angels, and I just recently joined the group and went to one workshop. And it's anything is worthwhile. And they're a dedicated group. They were formed right after 2016 in December. Anyway, so I have some petitions if I can drop them off for you to. And they're trying to get it to all the counties in the United States. Two things. I haven't been following too closely the thing that was with Summit Stone laying off people, and if you each could take some time and try to explain it to me, because I haven't been following it, but I think it's important to hear what happened. And second, the Restorative Justice Court lawsuit that I have, and I think we're ready for it, can be applied, and we can do it any time in September. I would like to see it happen. I know there's some things happening with trauma court, and I think it all can tie in. But I do want to follow through at some point in September for restorative justice court. It would only take one day, just to give an example. And part of that, and I have been given the use of a conference room at the Impact Center by United Way, and I'm holding a restorative justice study group. And you're welcome to stop by this Thursday at 9 o'clock, between 9 and 10:30. And there hasn't been a lot of people stopping by, but I want to show you the restorative justice suit for peace as it's currently standing, and then we can continue with that. I thank you for your time and your dedication and your efforts at transparency.
Thank you, Paul. So I don't believe there is anyone else here in person who wishes to offer public comment and who may not have signed up. And I will ask Sarah to check to see if there's anyone online through the Zoom platform who may wish to offer public comment.
No one signed up online.
All right, then we'll close public comment, and this is an opportunity for the commissioners, if we wish to offer a bit of a response to what we've heard. Do either of you wish to do so? Commissioner Stevens?
Sure. So thank you, Joyce and Paul, for coming out this morning. Joyce, I didn't know about the Braver Angels group, so I think that that's wonderful work that's happening. Anything that helps with our civic dialogue and helps us try to work through our differences and have those hard conversations is really important work. So it seems like Lorinda might have talked to you and got some more information, but I think that we're trying to foster that same civic dialogue and working through those issues here at the county as much as we can, and we've done some programs to that end as well. So, but however we can sort of help with that, if you have ideas, and we're happy to kind of work with you and work with the group on doing some of that work. We certainly know that how important that is, especially around what could be a very contentious election season. So we'll be in touch, and thank you for doing that work and for fostering that in our community. Paul, I'll just mention a couple things with regard to Summit Stone. There were layoffs. Summit Stone is a partner of ours with the county behavioral health facility at Longview. And so while we don't feel like that facility was impacted, I think that they've given public, explanations of why they needed to do this thing, why they needed to have the layoffs, which were, financially based. I think that from our end, we're just going to make sure that there aren't any gaps in our community that haven't been filled. That But we have been assured by the folks at Summit Stone that no one is going without care, that they have care teams. And so if there were layoffs, that people weren't left sort of hanging. And, we were reassured in that regard. So, sometimes these financial adjustments have to happen, unfortunately, with big organizations. I will say I think part of it is due to, some of the problems with a lot of people being taken off of Medicaid after the COVID emergency. So a lot of people were able to stay on Medicaid during the COVID emergency. A lot of people were separated from their Medicaid insurance, and I think that's had repercussions not just in Summit Stone but across the county for people. Healthcare is important, and we don't always get it right in our country. So, with regard to Restorative Justice Court, I'm eager to hear what the kind of work that you're doing, and happy to stop by if you have some time to talk about that. We do have a lot of specialty courts, and I think we've made you aware of some of those: Wellness Court and Competency Court and other courts that we feel like do some restorative justice. We certainly have the community corrections, which is a space for us to do a lot of restorative justice in our community. It used to be called the halfway house, but now there's a lot of work that's done there with regard to treatment instead of incarceration. And so we are working on this issue too. We care about this issue too, but interested to hear what you and some of your colleagues have to say about how we can maybe do this work better. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Yes, Commissioner Shattuck McNally, of course.
Thank you, commissioners and colleagues. Thank you for the opportunity. Wanted to say good morning and thank you for Joyce and Paul for coming today. I actually did know about Braver Angels. I've been doing some of this bridge building work since about 2016, 17, when my father sparked some conversations with me and my daughter, that we looked at intergenerational conversations and how we could bring that together. And we did that out in the community, kind of self-funding it myself, and we brought youth and older adults together to talk about very sensitive issues like transportation and isolation and social isolation and loneliness and so much more. Through that, I've got to be a strong conversation and relationship with Dr. Martine Carcassonne of the CSU Center for Public Deliberation, who's doing a lot of also very similar work throughout the community. And I know the county has used them, the city of Fort Collins, to talk about some pretty sensitive issues with facilitators, and it's really a powerful program. And along with that, we've done Generous, which is a national program out of the East Coast. It's really focuses on women. And we had an event when we had 7 different generations of women talking and sharing information, along with living room conversations groups. So it's great that you all have bringing forward another organization they're all looking to do the same kind of general thing. And so I'm glad to hear of another opportunity and elevate that there are folks who are looking to have dialogues and build bridges and build connections. And so I just wanted to make sure you knew that some things that I have been doing in the county has also had that right after our first year with all the mask mandates and some of the discussions. We brought them all here to have a discussion as a public community conversation. So it's something that we have been doing, but we're always open to learning more and listening, and I would love to hear about some of the things that you learned. But I just want to thank you for coming today. We really appreciate the public comment and the conversation. I won't add much onto the Summit Stone comment other than we've had lots of conversations with them, and one thing they've encouraged us to do, that if you'd like to learn more, Paul, is they encourage you to call and talk to the administration if you have lots of questions and concerns. Or if you have, want to call and talk to their leadership, they're open to having those conversations, and they encourage us to send folks who were concerned to talk to them so they can talk through the process and things. And I think we've had the continued conversation about restorative justice. We've done a lot of of that in this. I was involved with that. Some of that we did in the school districts with youth, with some of the administration at school districts and things. And I think that's a great conversation to continue to have. I'm very proud of our wellness and specialty courts and the work that they're doing. There's nowhere else in the country that has, or in the state for sure, that has this many specialty courts and doing this kind of work. And I think it's something that we continually look to improve on and expand, and it's important work, and it takes a lot of dedicated and diligent partners from across both sides of as someone said when we had a celebration here, having a public defender sit down with the DA to look to what they can do together. That doesn't happen in a lot of communities. So I wanted to kind of make sure to kind of share that with you all in the public, how very fortunate we are to have this power of partnerships here in our community. And again, thank you for all being here today.
So I first learned about, also thanks to both of you and for your community engagement, I first learned about Braver Angels well over a year ago. There was a community event at the public library that was sponsored by CSU Center for Public Deliberation, as well as the Colorado and some of the other news outlets. And they had a whole bunch of resources, including videos and a website for Braver Angels, and to see how folks do that work. So I did share that information with our public affairs people. I believe I shared it also with our county manager. This was a while back, and there are various links that I think are very helpful, all along the lines of how do we advance civility in the public when there's such a polarization and so forth. So are familiar some of those resources, and I have those resources if folks want to see them again. I shared them with our community engagement specialists to see if we're looking at updating our community outreach strategy. The county is, and I think some of these things that we learned about would be very helpful as far as how do we have those conversations. So I appreciate that. With Paul, I'm happy to speak with you offline about the Summit Stone Health Partners layoffs and all the implications. So more than happy to do that. I don't think this is the proper place to get into a conversation about that. As far as, there's, and I'm happy to talk to you about restorative justice work that's been done already and in the past, and I think I've referred to you the person who helped really start the whole restorative justice that lives in our community. So thank you both for being here. Happy to follow up with the resources, and I believe I did share those with folks, but that was a while ago. Okay, we'll now move on. Thank you. We'll move on to approval of the minutes. Approval of the minutes for 2 weeks, a week of August 12th and August 19th. Commissioner Shattuck McNally, would you please offer that motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the minutes from the weeks of August 12th and August 19th, 2024.
Thank you. Proper motion. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, that passes 3-0. Next item on the agenda is a review of the upcoming schedule for the commissioners, and that's Sarah.
Good morning. This is the commissioner's schedule for September 2nd through the 7th, 2024. On Monday, September 2nd, county offices will be closed in observance of the Labor Day holiday. On Tuesday, September 3rd, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be an administrative matters meeting in the hearing room on the first floor. From 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m., there will be administrative direction to county management in the Sprague Lake Conference Room on the second floor. From 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis will attend the Parks Advisory Board meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it'll be at the Horsetooth Area Information Center at 4200 West County Road 38E in Fort Collins, or virtually via Zoom. On Wednesday, September 4th, from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the Extension Advisory Board meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at 1525 Blue Spruce Drive in Fort Collins, or virtually via Zoom. From 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual regional opioid abatement learning forum. From 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., there will be a work session for a facilities master plan update in the Commissioners' Conference Room on the second floor. From 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual North Interstate 25 Coalition meeting. On Thursday, September 5th, from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m., Commissioner Kafalis will host a community conversation for the Wellington and Waverly communities. The topic will be announced prior to the meeting, and this will take place at Avuncular Bob's Tea Bar Inn at 3803 West Cleveland Avenue in Wellington. From 7:30 a.m. to 10 a.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the Fort Collins Downtown Development Authority Board meeting at the Powerhouse Energy Campus at 430 North College Avenue in Fort Collins. From 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally will attend a press event for federal investment at the Upper Thompson Sanitation District at 2196 Mall Road in Estes Park. From 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual National Association of Counties Transportation Committee meeting. From 4:15 p.m. to 4:45 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual Go NoCo 34 Transportation Management Organization Board meeting. From 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization Planning Council meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at 222 LaPorte Avenue in Fort Collins or virtually via GoToMeeting. On Friday, September 6th, from 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual Forest Health Council Legislative Committee meeting. From 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis will attend the State Board of Human Services. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at 800 East Beaver Avenue in Fort Morgan or virtually via Zoom. From 9:30 a.m. to 12 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the Regional Air Quality Council Board meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at 1445 Market Street in Denver or virtually via Zoom. On Saturday, September 7th, from 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., there will be Common Grounds with Commissioner Shattuck McNally. Topic and location will be announced prior to the meeting. From 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., Commissioners may attend the Wrist Canyon Mountain Festival across from Fire Station 1 at 11835 Wrist Canyon Road in Bellevue. And from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., Commissioners Kafalis and Shattuck McNally may attend the Kids Pack Grand Opening event at 250 West 69th Court in Lublin.
Thank you, Sarah. Colleagues, do you have any questions, adjustments? Commissioner Shattuck McNally, do you have any? Nope. Commissioner Stevens?
I don't have any changes, no.
Thank you. The only feedback I have is that the Parks Advisory Board meeting, Tuesday, September 3rd, I believe I received an email yesterday saying it was canceled. If you could please confirm that with Andrea, so that may be canceled. I believe it has been. And then regarding the Wellington Community Conversation, please follow up with Jordan because we do have topics. We do have for that September 5th meeting.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. Moving right along. Consent agenda. That's me. So, as I've said in the past, consent agenda is mostly administrative, somewhat routine matters. There's no perceived community controversy, and so we go through the consent agenda rather quickly. The details are online. All the documents that we are approving and that will be signed. Also, the commissioners have the option of pulling something off the consent agenda, or sometimes we'll keep something on the consent agenda and just maybe say a word or two about it so that folks, to draw attention to that particular item. So with that said, I'll go through this. This is the consent agenda for today, August 27th, 2024. I believe there are 6 agreements. That's the first category. The first one is Larimer County Hardware Refresh, 3 documents. These are basically service agreements for infrastructure lease services for our disaster recovery and storage environments. This has to do with servers and data storage and so forth. The terms of this agreement are August 27th today through August 27th, 2029, 5 years. This is between the county and Dell, the reseller redesign group. The total dollar amount of this agreement is approximately $1.961 million. The second agreement is a joint fiber optic cable project and cost-sharing agreement based structure on Bureau of Reclamation land to Rock Hill Road power pole. Approval of an agreement with Northern Colorado Water Conservancy District and the county to extend new fiber optics cable for a connection to the Carter Lake Marina for Larimer County, primarily Department of Natural Resources, where they have their headquarters there. The terms are today until agreement termination at request of the county. This is between the county and the Northern Colorado Water Conservancy District. The dollar amount is approximately $22,500. The third agreement, intergovernmental agreement for constructing the Johnstown Water Supply Pipeline, IGA, between the county and the town of Johnstown for constructing this particular water supply pipeline within project limits. This is at County Road 14 and County Road 15H share costs which exceed the Highway Safety Improvement Program grant amount. The terms are until terminated between the county and the town of Johnstown. Dollar amount $104,000 for the county, $104,000 for the town of Johnstown. The next agreement is a drainage easement agreement between the county and FRRE LLC. This is having to do with drainage and an easement between the commissioners, as I said, in that particular company. The term begins today in perpetuity. There's no dollar amount. The fifth agreement, Amendment 1 to the contract between Larimer County and Jefferson County Parks and Open Space, the Restore Grant IGA Intergovernmental Agreement. This has to do with we received grant funding from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation to restore winter range habitat for mule deer and elk. The amendment will reallocate grant funds to Jefferson County with no change in total grant funding. Terms are August 15th of this year to December 31st of this year between the Larimer County, Jefferson County Parks and Open Space, and the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation. A total dollar amount reallocation of about $21,000. The sixth agreement, Professional Services Agreement, P24-12, Solid Waste Alternative Disposal Facility. This agreement provides an alternative disposal facility located at 1830 Weld County, Road 5, Erie, for use by the county as needed during days when the north landfill is closed due to high winds, waste transported from the central. During days when the landfill is closed due to high winds, waste transported from the central diversion transfer facility will be directed to this particular alternative disposal facility as necessary to accommodate daily operations. The terms begin August 6th of this year, and this continues for 10 years from the opening date of the North landfill. Between the commissioners and Waste Connections of Colorado. Total dollar amount up to $1.1 million per calendar year as needed. Next, we move on to appointments. We have 4 appointments, recommended midterm appointments to the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Advisory Board. Fatima Prieto and Marissa Emerson. They are appointed to the EDI Board beginning today, ending June 30th, 2027. Next, recommended midterm appointment to the EDI Board, Dakota Montez, beginning today, ending June 30th, 2027. And then we have a recommended youth appointment to the EDI board, Tabitha Cruz, beginning today and ending a year from now in 2025. The fourth item is a recommended rescinded appointment to the EDI advisory board, Daisy Sweeney. We move on to deeds, deed of conservation easement, Heaven's Door Ranch. This is a resolution approving the conveyance of a conservation easement on the Heaven's Door Ranch property. Is a requirement. This easement is a requirement of the IGA concerning this conservation project. The conveyance of the conservation easement is also a requirement of the Great Outdoors Colorado Heaven's Door Ranch acquisition, future Northern Colorado Open Space Grant Award. In addition to meeting these requirements, the conservation easement will protect the property's significant public benefits and conservation values in perpetuity forever. This is between the county, city of Fort Collins, city of Loveland. Next, letters of support. There's one, Colorado Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration letter of support for the state of Colorado's application to the Charging and Fueling Infrastructure Discretionary Grant Opportunity Round 2. We're providing a letter of support. CDOT, Department of Transportation, is submitting a grant application to build a public network of high-powered charging sites for medium and heavy-duty vehicles along the I-25 corridor. If funded, the grant application project would help to address air quality and greenhouse gas emissions reduction that come from transportation the transportation sector. Moving on to liquor licenses, findings and order. Let's see, the Georgia Beach Post Number 4 American Legion Home Association, doing business as the George Beach American Legion Post 4. Tavern liquor license approval and issuance has been denied. We had this hearing a couple of weeks ago. Liquor license, special event permit, 6% Rock Garden concert, the Matthews House. This is special event liquor permit for 6% for an event they are sponsoring. Okay. Number 5. Give me a moment. Number 3, liquor license, special event permit, another one, 6%, Fall Equinox Marathon. Maybe I should sign up for that. That is Bellevue, Colorado, with the folks sponsoring the race, and September 22nd, 2024. The 4th liquor license matter is a renewal, Charcoal Broiler. This is a hotel and restaurant license type approval and issuance. Moving on to miscellaneous. Subrecipient commitment. Thanks for sticking with me, folks. Subrecipient commitment form and designation of authorized representative. The Community Wildfire Defense Grant and the Red Feather Lakes Area Wildfire Defense Project. This subrecipient commitment form is a necessary step for the Colorado State Forest Service to draft the grant agreement that would formalize the $9.7 million Community Wildfire Defense Grant awarded to the Red Feather Lakes Area Wildfire Defense Project. Following our return of this subrecipient commitment form to the State Forest Service, we will then receive the grant agreement at a later date. Additionally, the designation of an authorized representative, etc., will allow for the efficient management of the grant and expected returns on grant management documentation. Next, under miscellaneous, request for approval to enter upon lands to do weed mitigation. This is the parties, homeowner, property owner. The dates are August 21 through September 30th of this year to be able to do weed mitigation. The next is also a request for approval to enter upon lands to do weed mitigation. The dates, different property, the same dates. Number 4, warranty memorandum for Campana Administrative Subdivision, file number 21 Land 4082. Between the commissioners of the county and MNC Holdings, LLC, 2-year warranty period for all improvements required to be constructed pursuant to the development agreement commences August 27th today, expires August 27th, 2026. Number 5, under miscellaneous, U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration charging and fueling infrastructure grant application. We've developed a grant application to design, engineer, and construct 37 electric vehicle charging stations and associated improvements across the county. This project will increase the availability of electric vehicle charging infrastructure to support ongoing adoption of zero-emission vehicles and improve safety and air quality across the county. Moving on to resolutions. Oh, and I should mention about the previous item. This is a collaborative effort. City of Loveland and Thompson School District are joining the county, including the ranch, as partners in this application. So that's great. Resolutions. These the first 2 have to do with compensation, establishing compensation for the district attorney, assistant district attorney. I think I'll leave it at that. The second is for the district attorney administrative manager. So there are 2 resolutions regarding those salaries for those positions in the DA's office. Third item is a resolution approving the conveyance of a conservation easement on the Heaven's Door Ranch property. So the conservation easement, the property is 1,547 acres, which is pretty darn amazing. The easement will be co-held by the City of Loveland and Fort Collins. The easement is a requirement of the IGA, as we referred to earlier, and I think that's enough I'll say on that, but it is pretty exciting that we were able to work that out. The 4th item, and I believe that's the final item, Great Outdoors Colorado Grant Resolution Land Acquisition Project. Grant application resolution for the conservation of 3 ranches located in the county. The county is requesting $2.5 million in grant funding from Great Outdoors Colorado to fund a portion of the conservation project. And we did talk about this, I believe, in a work session recently. Those are all the consent agenda items. Do either of my colleagues wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? Nor do I. So we'll entertain a motion. I've been spending so much time on this, I forget whose turn it is. Commissioner Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to approve the consent agenda for August 27th, 2024.
Thank you. That's a proper motion. I don't believe there's any further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes 3-0. I don't think we have any commissioners' guests. We have one discussion item, a resolution establishing a 3-year Alexander Mountain Fire cleanup and rebuilding program. And we have one of our staff members who will introduce themselves and present. And welcome, by the way.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Eric Freed, Larimer County building official, and we're here today to talk about a resolution establishing a 3-year cleanup and rebuilding program for the Alexander Mountain Fire, which, to just recap briefly, as you all know, broke out on July 29th. On the 30th, Commission Chair Kafalis declared the Alexander Mountain Fire emergency. The following day, the entire board approved that emergency declaration, which was extended indefinitely until rescinded by the board. Last week, we were able to get up and to get one of our damage assessment teams get out and look at the final structure that we knew had been damaged with the help of the sheriff's office. Our teams were out while the fire was still raging. We do that quicker than we ever used to get out there and assess damage. And the final total was 29 homes destroyed, 4 with minor damage, and 21 accessory buildings destroyed, or 54 homes total. I think when we talked about this at a work session, we were at 52, but we've now, assessed the last couple, which is a terrible situation for the property owners, but it could have been far worse. But thanks to the efforts of the firefighters who were up there fighting the fire and protecting structures, most of the homes in the Cedar Creek and Storm Mountain area were saved. So what we would like, we have provisions in our land use code, because unfortunately Larimer County is quite experienced in natural disasters. We've had more than our share of floods and fires and tornadoes and stuff. So Article 14 of the land use code is a disaster rebuild program that's kind of ready to go once the commissioners put it into place. And what that does is it gives increased flexibility for people to reestablish non-conforming uses or setbacks, flexibility around impact fees, temporary emergency housing, temporary emergency accessory structures. And in addition, what we're asking the commissioners to do, which is authorized by Article 14, is to allow the community development director to establish a building permit fee reduction program. And we did this after the Cameron Peak fire. So basically this resolution is the same as the Cameron Peak fire resolution, other than the dates are changed and the names are changed. I'm proposing that it go into effect for 3 years, which should give people sufficient time to collect the insurance settlements or figure out their financial and emotional and family situations and decide whether they want to rebuild or not. And it would authorize up to $1,000 off building permit fees for a house, $500 for an outbuilding. It's very simple eligibility. You have to have been the property owner at the time of the fire. Right now, we're only a few weeks after the fire, so there probably hasn't been a lot of turnover. But 2 years from now, some of those properties may have turned over. And this program is for the owners at the time, not for subsequent owners. They have to have been underinsured or uninsured, which we've learned from prior fires. Almost everybody is underinsured, at least, even when they think they're fully insured, because they don't probably have replacement value. And the home has to have been legally built, or either with a permit, if it was after January 1st, 1972, or if it was built before that time, no permit was required. So code compliance is very simple research and just verifies that people are eligible, and then we can approve that the building permit fee reduction. It would also give people additional time to remove fire-related debris. So I'm proposing that the program go into effect today, if you so desire, and pass this resolution, and that it be in effect through August 27th, 2027. I'd originally thought about having it go through the end of August, but it turns out that August 27th is a Friday in 2027, so it seems like a good time to just, the end of that week, the program would be ended. Now, the commissioners can terminate the program earlier if they choose to. We could bring another resolution back, or whatever, or it could be extended if needed. We did extend the Cameron Peak fire 1 additional year. In terms of the cost of the fee reduction, I believe you've already set aside up to $30,000 in Fund 105. I don't think it will cost that, because it's unlikely that everyone's going to rebuild for a variety of reasons. We know from in the Cameron Peak fire, only about 20% of people rebuilt their homes. They didn't have the insurance, or things had changed, the landscape had changed. In the Hyde Park fire, we had about 40% rebuilding, 35 to 40%. And I think it depends on how many of the homes are primary homes. Obviously, if it's your primary home, you're much more likely to rebuild. If it's a secondary home, it's more likely to be under or uninsured, and you're less likely to rebuild it. So I don't have the statistics up there, but even if 40% rebuilt of the roughly 30 homes we lost, that's only about 12 homes. So the cost of the program is fairly minor. We do have a final map that we worked on with GIS. It's in your packet, that shows the perimeter of the Alexander Mountain fire. But we even have a more exact map to do our work in community development, because all those parcels would be put into the GIS layer, Larimer County's GIS layer. So we'll know every parcel that was affected by the fire. So it's pretty straightforward. We discussed this at a work session on the 12th, I believe, and so I bring this forward to you. Happy to answer any questions, or there's a suggested motion that the board vote to establish the Alexander Mountain Cleanup and Rebuilding Program within the perimeter of the map that I produced for you.
Thank you very much, Eric. Colleagues, do you have any questions or comments for Mr. Freed? Yes, Commissioner.
we did have a great discussion about this, and I just really appreciate you all and how quickly you've moved on this and the work that you do to support the residents impacted by the Alexander Mountain Fire and all the fires previous. I did spend some time up over the weekend talking with some of the impacted folks and also the ones that had done some mitigation around their homes and their homes were saved, but they still had damage. And so I heard from a few of them that have been already reaching out to the county to get permits and get some things fixed. That the county, your staff have been extremely responsive, quick, helpful, kind, and I just wanted to pass that along to say thank you for all that you do in these times of crisis, and on top of all the other full plates that you have. And I just wanted to convey that it was great and heartwarming to hear. I'm not surprised that's how you all operate on a daily basis, but I just want to make sure the gratitude from those residents who just feel like they're maybe gaining a little bit of their lives back and getting some on the way to recovery. I just wanted to share that with you all. Thank you.
Thank you. We love hearing positive feedback because, as you know, we're more likely to hear the non-positive feedback.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Stevens, any questions or comments?
Yeah, I'll just echo my thanks. Thanks to the assessment teams for getting up there so quickly, and appreciate the work that you do. It's not easy work, and it's not easy seeing that kind of destruction. So really happy to support this resolution. It's definitely the right thing to do. It's something we've done in previous fires, as you mentioned, and so I think there's not a lot we can do for individual homeowners in these kind of scenarios. So I think this is one thing that we can do to kind of sort of ease some of the difficulties that they're dealing with, and having that additional time to get debris out of the way is helpful as well. So I appreciate your work on this, and it'll be interesting to see how many people take advantage of this. Like you said, it may not be a high percentage, but we certainly welcome people to come talk to us and see how we can help in the ways that we can help. So thank you.
Thank you. And just to echo the gratitude and appreciation of my colleagues, and I think all of us, you all do extraordinary work. I think as we've learned, when we have these natural disaster emergencies like wildfires and floods, they are within a particular time frame, but typically the recovery effort is ongoing for, in terms of people impacted with their homes, and certainly the recovery effort regarding restoring the impacted burn areas. So thank you for your work. I, too, am very happy to support this resolution to put in place the program to provide some support to the homeowners. I also think it's interesting, Eric, sharing what we've learned from the past, and primary homes versus secondary homes, and how that contributes to the likelihood that somebody might go and try to rebuild, and the role of insurance and underinsurance, which is something that we've been working on for a long time for homeowners to be better educated about. That sometimes their homeowners insurance policy doesn't cover all of the costs for actually rebuilding their home. So thank you. Well, let's see. Commissioner Shattuck McNally, I believe it's your turn. Would you please offer the motion? Thanks, Eric. Yeah.
I move to approve a resolution establishing a 3-year Alexander Mountain Fire cleanup and rebuilding program.
Great. Thanks. Any further discussion, colleagues? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes 3-0. We can continue the work. All right, that's it for discussion items. The next matter on our agenda here, County Manager update. Miranda, that's you.
Thank you, Commissioners. I do a lot of internal coordination, as you well know, and this budget season feels like more internal coordination than most. Over the past 2 weeks, we've met with about half of the departments and offices, so about 12 or 13 meetings have been held with each of them to understand what their budget proposals look like. Everyone understands the fiscal pressures that we're under this year, and so I have to say we have really great partners in our departments and our elected offices. So I'm great kudos to them for the work that they're doing. Externally, I've met with the Wellington Town Manager, Patty Garcia, and the Fort Collins City Manager, Kelly DiMartino. We have a lot of work that we do with our municipal partners, and so having these regular coordination touch points is really important to keep that information flowing as it should. Mark Peterson, Leslie Ellis, Lori Kadrich, and our polling consultant met with the Fort Collins Chamber of Commerce on Friday. We had a really great meeting with their legislative committee. We were talking to them. They had questions about our potential transportation ballot question. They are a wonderful, engaged group of business leaders in our community. A similar meeting was held with the Loveland Chamber of Commerce. And a similar experience was held with them as well. So I want to say kudos to them for their community involvement, and we should be hearing from them shortly about their thoughts on our proposal to perhaps have a transportation sales tax to fund new and transportation expansions, including multimodal transportation. And finally, with some of you all, I also attended the CSU Community Leadership Breakfast. It was the first of its kind in modern times. I know they used to do more of that collaboration. President Amy Parsons had a panel of leaders in the university, including student leaders, who talked about their experiences, what the university can bring to the community. The audience was local governments, a lot of nonprofits, other higher ed, high school leaders, and school district leaders as well. So it's a really great group. I would guess there were probably more than 100, maybe 150 people there. It was well attended. It looks like it will be an ongoing event. And I think it's a really great opportunity to connect the research the university does to organizations in our community. We have a bit of a higher touch point maybe than some because of our CSU Extension connection, but it was great to see the nonprofits really recognizing how they might partner with some of the things that happen at the university. So that was a great experience. And I think that is all I have to report on today.
Thank you, Lorinda. Colleagues, do you have any questions or feedback for the county manager? Okay. Our next topic, agenda item, is commissioner activity reports. And then we do have some things listed under legal matters, 2 items, one where a decision is expected, and a second where a decision is not expected. So, Commissioner Shattuck McNally, would you like to begin with the commissioner activity reports?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We haven't been here for a couple weeks, so I'm just gonna not. There's a lot of things that have happened, but I'll just kind of go back to the week of the 12th and share a few highlights, and then next week or last week, there's a lot been happening in Larimer County and a lot to celebrate. So I'll start with on August 13th. I went up to the Wellington Safe Routes to Schools, or actually that was on the 14th. I apologize. The Wellington Safe Route to School celebration, which was really a fantastic, fun community event where they had we helped support that grant that they received. Only 4 of those communities in the state received that grant, and they've done a lot of great work. They had a community event. The town of Wellington was involved. They had activities, a barbecue. A lot of community members came. The town board members were there, and there was a ribbon cutting, but the rain kind of hampered that a little bit. But was kind of interesting and something remarkable is how much time those volunteers. I want to thank them all. I think the town that Safe Route to Schools board is Lisa Chalet, Larry. To Fry, I think, and there's some new members, and I didn't get all their names, but it was great to talk to them. But they went out, and the weather kept hampering this, but they painted some of the sidewalks and some of the routes to school different colors. So if you're going to school and it had the name of the logo of the school, it was a certain color, so the kids on their first day to school can find the safest and best route to go to school. If you're going to a park or a certain community or like library, it was marked with a different color. And then if you're going to go to like a transit or another route, it had a different color. So that takes a lot of work to go out and to do that and map it. So they're doing a lot with that grant, and I just want to say well done. It was very exciting to see all that activity and appreciate the invitation. It was a really wonderful time in Wellington, and I appreciate the energy and to see everyone out together. We had our a regional, and I went to attend virtually our commissioners and counties acting together summer retreat. It was held up in Gunnison, but because I had some other things happening here in Larimer County, I chose to do it virtually, and we had great conversations talking about some of our equity, diversity, and inclusionary work and how we'd have that lens on some of the legislation. We had talking about the current special session that was coming up and some other topics, and it was really a robust conversation. And I also participated in the Region 2, there's a Regional Opioid Abatement Council project interview, and we were interviewed by some outside agencies that are writing a study and a white paper, I believe, on how Colorado and Larimer County have been doing to address the crisis, and how we have been getting grant money out the door and helping folks. We had our Land Stewardship Advisory Board meeting, which was great to be in person. It's just a heads up. There's, talking about that meeting, there's kind of a new invasive weed that has traveled down from some of the northwest parts of the state of the country, and was a very robust discussion about how if we can eradicate this or deal with this in a proactive sense, we'll save ourselves a lot of effort. So I was very interested to learn about that. And then I appreciate getting to join the community in the backyard that was sponsored. The Fort Collins Symphony was just an amazing opportunity just to sit and relax and talk with folks and learn a little bit about those programs. And a lot of community members came out and talked to me, and it was a great time. We had again the Colorado County's retreat on Friday morning, and then I attended the Colorado Fire Commission Beneficial Fire Subcommittee, which is also a subcommittee along with the Colorado Forest Health Council. That was a very great meeting. We're still working on the recommendations out of that council, and then I had to leave that meeting early because I drove down to Denver to be part at the state or the federal U.S. Forest Service regional office to have an interview with lots of partners, including Dalen Figgs from our DNR director, and NOCO Places 50, and a lot of our nonprofit partners that are working in the fire shed, as we had a meeting with the Forest Service about the forest supervisory opening. So it was a very good conversation. And then on so, I mean, that's just really a powerful conversation. I joined CSU Extension and our staff on the NOCO Farm Hop Tour. I was very excited to attend that. I followed along the bus. There was probably over 50 people there, probably more. We visited the Poudre Valley Community Farms project. I've gone out there a few times now, and it continues to evolve and grow. And it's really a great conversation. And then also got to start out the Folks Farm here in Farm Stand and Community Farm that's in the middle of Fort Collins. And I've always wanted to visit that. So that was really fun to learn and see how they do things there. And I just wanted to give a shout out to CSU Extension and to the staff that are working with the county and Extension to organize all this in the community outreach. It was some folks from Weld County too. There was language justice interpreters, so some folks have choose to participate in a different language, and I was really pleased to see the language justice and the interpreters there. It was just really, and then Representative Mike Lynch came. It was just really a wonderfully organized and put on event, and I just wanted to give them a lot of kudos and thanks for all the work that they did to organize that. As you know, we had our behavioral health policy meeting last week. The commissioners heard in a work session yesterday pretty much the bulk of that meeting as we discussed the process and looking at the 2024 grant cycle for impact funds. And so I will just not go much into that. That was a really great conversation. And then I went into the Larimer Epidemiology Working Group, which is along with Dr. Jared Olson. We're looking at suicide fatality review. We're looking at the regional opioid abatement data, and also impact grants and the community health improvement plan, and all this other data that we're trying to get into one conversation to kind of work on having that data in a way that policymakers and groups can use to help inform decision making. I also attended the CSU leadership breakfast. I want to thank President Amy Parsons and her staff who did a phenomenal job. It was really a great way to connect with folks. I had so much opportunity to meet with so many folks I haven't seen for a while, and the panel I thought was very extraordinary. And I wanted to give a shout out to Dr. Underwood, who's the new CSU executive and officer and provost. I also saw her later in the week at the Women's Equality Day, and I have to say I'm just so impressed. And I know they're talking about social connections, and there was a question about third space, and I'm looking forward to see what we can do together. And I want to again thanks for the invitation. It was really fun. And then I did go to. I want to encourage the public, if you get a chance. There was this I went to the Lyric to see a screening of Fire Force, which is a documentary film by Evan Barrientos, who, and Evan, excuse me if I mispronounced your name, he's been following along with the aftermath of the Cameron Peak fire. And this documentary is on how the mitigation work happens. So the film he's showing around the Shambhala Center and showing kind of the before and after of when when the mitigation works and when the property next to it wasn't mitigated, and showing the aftermath of that, and having some interviews from subject matter experts. And it was a sold out theater. There was some showings in Berthoud and Estes Park, and they have been way full crowds and lots of attendance. And the county had some office emergency management folks there and some of our nonprofit partners. I also saw them at the grand opening of REI, which they were all supporting those folks and this film. So you can go to fireforcephoto.com to learn more about the film. And it's well done, and I appreciate all the work and the partners doing it together. As you know, we're doing a lot with talking about the special session and talking with our folks regarding some of those things. We've had some pretty interesting discussions. And then also CCI brought together a wildfire insurance discussion with the Colorado Insurance Commissioner, Mr. Conway, and folks, as we talk about what this problem is across the whole state, about insurance companies stopping coverage or raising coverage, or there's under coverage for a lot of folks, and how this is an issue, and looking at ways that we can work together to try to tackle this big problem. We had it was just a lot going on. We had a regional opioid abatement conference. Our meeting, we did approve colleagues the next round 4 of funding, and the buckets at least, and we're now going to be looking at which and the buckets have been changed because there's the Attorney General's office kind of changed some of the names of the different buckets. And so there's a new Schedule E, and so the Colorado AG's office has been phenomenally great in partnering with us to help us crosswalk the old buckets, because they're very similar. They're going to be the same kind of things, but they just have different names and they kind of overlap. So I appreciate them working with us. And so we have that approved and going forward, so we can submit that next month, so we can get the funding sooner if we wait, because there's a deadline. The deadlines are being held to a little tighter now. And then we had our Open Lands Advisory Board meeting, which was wonderful, and a great conversation. I'm sure I won't bring that up too much because I know it's going to come forward to the board, some of those discussions. And then I attended the Larimer County League of Women Voters and Women's Equality Day at Sweetheart Winery. Gretchen Haley, Joy Sullivan, and Beth DeHaven all received really outstanding awards, and I just really appreciated the opportunity to celebrate with them and all the folks that were involved. I went down to the state fair, and we had our Forest Health Council Advisory Council meeting on Friday morning, and then I drove down to the state fair and met with a lot of state legislatures. It was a legislative barbecue, and traveled around with one of the commissioners for the state fair and got a hands-on tour of the state fair in Rodeo, and got to visit all that, and came right back Saturday morning, went up to Pinewood to do a HOA that had been impacted by the fire, asked me to come speak, and I got to attend that and do a debrief with them, and that was it was a packed Saturday. I'll just leave it at that. And then as I said, I went to tour some of the Alexander Mountain Fire impacted residents Sunday, and that was a great conversation. And I did share how folks were very grateful about how helpful and quick to respond the county has been. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Stevens?
I'm just going to skip mine today. Thanks.
What's that?
I'm just going to skip today. We have legal matters and other things to do, so thanks.
Oh, thank you. I was also planning to pass on my report. So we have legal matters, and there are two items, two motions. One is where we're expecting a decision. I guess I would ask legal counsel. It seems to me we ought to do the first one. Bill, would you come on up and help us how we should conduct this? But I suppose one option is to go into executive session and discuss the first matter, come back out with a decision, and then go in for the second. But please help us out here.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Rasu, Larimer County Attorney. Correct, Commissioner Kofalis. The two options are you can go into executive session on just the first item, come back into open session, consider action on that item, and then move to go into executive session a second time for the second item. So that's option one. The second option would be to make both motions to go into executive session for both items. We would hold executive sessions for both of those items and then come back into open session to consider action on the first item.
Let's do the second option, please. That seems more efficient. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying. So let's see. Commissioner Stevens, I think it's your turn. Would you offer the two motions for us to go into executive session?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I move that this board go into executive session pursuant to Colorado Revised Statutes 24-6, 4024B, conferences with an attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice regarding the estate of Brent Thompson et al. Versus Deputy Lorenzo Lujan, and go into executive session pursuant to Colorado Revised Statutes 24-6, 4024B, conferences with an attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice regarding the decision of U.S. Supreme Court in Grants Pass versus Johnson and potential impact on county parking, camping regulations, and potential modification of county regulations.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think we'll vote on each of these motions separately. So the first one is to go into executive session for a discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
And then there's a second motion to go into executive session regarding the U.S. Supreme Court in Grants Pass, Oregon versus Johnson and the impact on some of our discussions here at the local level regarding camping, potential camping and parking bans. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, 3-0. So again, two motions. The first one we'll address first, and then we'll come back. A decision is expected. Then but we'll do both, and then we'll come back for the final. Thank you. Okay, we now move into executive session. Got that straight as best as I can. Would you Okay, thank you all. We are back online. We just came out of an executive session. There were two topics discussed. One topic did not require a decision. The other topic, and that is why we're back online, does require a decision, and there's a motion before us. At this time, I'd like to ask our David to summarize our conversation, and then we can ask questions if we have any, and then consider the motion.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. David A. Rowe, Deputy County Attorney. The executive session that's coming back up for a public decision dealt with a question that came up following a mediation on the matter. That executive session then addressed any legal implications of both the mediation, the pending case, which has been discussed in public sessions previously, as well as the potential legal implications of a proposed resolution.
Thank you, David. Colleagues, do you have any questions or comments? Then I believe Commissioner Shaddock McNally, I think it's your turn. If you would please offer the motion.
I move that the Board of County Commissioners approve the agreement resolving and dismissing civil action 2024 CV 30299 filed by the estate of Brett Thompson et al.
Thank you. That is a proper motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes 3-0. I believe we've concluded our business for today. We are adjourned at 11:01 a.m.